Following Joe Schoen's press conference yesterday, Giants fans got bad news. Let's talk about it. You're watching Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green. Joe Schoen, he met with the media yesterday, as all GMs and most front offices meet with the media before the season gets kicked off. He and Dabes, they took the podium, and he said that we feel good about our CB2. I'll tell you this much, I do not feel good, and anybody that follows this team, anybody that knows anything about the New York Giants roster right now, I can promise you this, nobody feels good about the corners on this roster outside of Deonte Banks. Let's go right to the horse. This is what Joe Schoen said. I feel good about it when asked about his cornerback room outside of Deonte Banks. That's an important position when we are making these trade calls or depth calls with other organizations. If you called every team, 32 out of 32 would probably say looking for depth at corner. It's a difficult position to find. We're always going to look to upgrade across the entire roster, but there's not a lot of teams that have three good corners on their roster. Translation, he does not feel good about the corners on this team. He can say whatever he wants. He feels good, blah, 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 blah. But I know this. Following watching Hard Knocks from this spring, I know that Joe Schoen does not speak unless he has calculated every word that he is going to say and what that will come off to when speaking to the media. Also, he said, we feel good about our CB2. And I want to go back just to the quote, because it doesn't make that much sense to me. He says, if you called every team, they would say we're looking for depth at corner. We're not looking for depth at corner. We're looking for starting corners. We're looking for a guy that can start opposite of Deonte Banks, because right now the Giants do not have an NFL caliber corner at that second outside corner spot. So how are you going to say we're looking for depth when you got Deonte Banks and a bunch of question marks elsewhere? Yeah, we hope Cordell Flott in year 3 after being a third-round pick could be that guy. Yes, we're hoping rookie Drew Phillips can step in and hold his own in the slot. Yes, we're hoping Trey Hawkins in his second year in the National Football League takes a step. And maybe Nick McLeod can be the security blanket we all need. But it's a lie to say that we are okay with where we're at and other teams are looking for depth. Sure, other teams are looking for depth. We're not looking for depth. We're looking for starters on this team, because right now the Giants have serious problems at the corner position. And really, I don't know if it's just because of the way he sounded in that press conference yesterday. It's time for Joe Schoen to get this ship right. Think about it like this. Of the 53 players on the New York Giants roster right now, 45 of them are Joe Schoen guys. 45 of the 53 players have been added to this team with him making the decisions. And only 8 players remain from the Dave Gettleman era. Daniel Jones, Andrew Thomas, Darius Slayton, Dexter Lawrence, Azeez Ojulari, Carter Coughlin, Graham Gano, and Casey Kreider. The 2 best players on this team, they come from Dave Gettleman and Dexter Lawrence and Andrew Thomas. It's time for him to start hitting on some picks. Let's circle back to this. The entire press conference, if you didn't watch it, go watch it after this video. I've watched it 3 times now. It was weird. And Joe Schoen was speaking to the media as if his team just lost 40-0 to the Dallas Cowboys again, like they did in week 1 of last year. Joe Schoen was asked by Dan Duggan of The Athletic. Major shout out to Dan. This was an awesome question. He pretty much said, we spoke to John Mara last week, and Mara said there needs to be major improvements this year. And Duggan asked Schoen, what does that mean? And this is what Joe Schoen said. Listen to this. He said, you guys asked him. You guys had a chance to talk to him. That's what he said. Significant improvement. So you guys talked to the most important person. Yeah, again, we don't, Dabes, we don't approach this job with not saying we want to go out and win. I mean, that's what we're here for. That's why we work our tails off. That's why we were here all night last night doing the waiver cut down. You know, that's why we're out all spring on pro days. That's why we do all the work and not to come up here and not win games. So that's always going to be the goal. What? Why was he so defensive? I just want to reference this tweet that I had. This is my initial reaction when I said it. Joe Schoen was clearly flustered by the question from Dan Duggan. He clearly didn't like John Mara coming out and saying there needs to be major improvement this year. But this is the point for me. Why do they start listing off the things that all 32 general managers and all 32 front offices do? You know what, Joe? Thank you for doing extra work on the waiver wire. Every team does that. Thank you for going to pro days this spring. Every team does that. It reminded me of when in Hard Knocks, he said that the negotiations with Saquon Barkley, when the franchise tag was placed on him, Joe Schoen said, that took 10 years off my life. That's the job, dude. You're supposed to put in extra work. You're going to go through stressful situations. I don't know if he's over his head or not, but I'm tired of him listing the things he did so he can get a pat on the back for the media. You want me to tell you good job? Don't pick 6th in the draft this year. Don't get beat 40-0 in week 1 by the Cowboys. No one cares how much work you put in if the results don't follow. And I'll tell you this much. That sounded like a man that thinks his job may be on the line. He looked frazzled. He sounded uncomfortable. And yeah, it took 10 years off your life. Maybe it's not for you. If you can't go through a frickin' franchise tag negotiation with the player, maybe it's just not for you. But why is this bad news for the Giants? One, because he said he believes in them, the corners on this team. And the fact that the Giants did not submit a single waiver claim in the waiver wire on Wednesday or Tuesday for a corner, that tells me he actually might believe that. But for my own sanity, for my own well-being, and the stress levels in my life, I am choosing to not believe Joe Schoen when he goes out and says we believe in these corners. Because if he does believe in them, that tells me that there is a bigger problem at hand. That tells me he may not be able to evaluate professional NFL corners like he hasn't been able to evaluate offensive linemen, missing on Andrew Thomas, maybe missing on John Michael Schmitz, missing on Joshua Azudu, missing on Marcus McKeithen, missing on Mark Lewinsky. If he was serious about he is comfortable and he is confident and he feels good about the talent on this team at the CB2 position and beyond, yeah, there's a bigger problem at hand, and I'm worried about it. The Giants' corners have been getting cooked all summer long. Rookie Malik Neighbors has been cooking them. We saw in joint practices, Garrett Wilson and their team cooked them. The Lions, they cooked them. The Texans, they cooked them. The Giants' corners have been a major talking point all summer long because they have not played well. And I get it. It's a young room. Deonte Banks entering year 2. Cordell Flott entering year 3. Andrew Phillips, a rookie. You're talking about Trey Hawkins entering year 2. I understand that there needs to be growth within those guys. But, man, you don't want to lose football games this year because you don't have enough talent at that corner position. You don't want to put your team in a bad spot and have them fighting uphill early on in the season because you got cooked by Justin Jefferson in week 1. Then you're going to play Terry McLaurin in week 2. There are a lot of good teams this year that you play that have really good receivers that I am worried about on this football team. Let's start with this. Are the Giants setting Deonte Banks up for failure? I understand it's year 2, and I understand he was a first-round pick in his rookie. He was a first-round pick 2 years ago. But, man, you're throwing him out there, telling him, got to go guard CeeDee Lamb, you got to go guard Terry McLaurin, got to go guard A.J. Brown. You got to follow the best receiver week in and week out. And you know what I saw in the rookie year from Deonte Banks? Some flashes, some really good moments, some really good plays. But overall, he looked like a rookie, and he needs to improve. And I don't think he's ready to be that corner on an island that travels and guards people. Because when you just talk about the numbers and you look at the production, there was a lot left to be desired. He was graded out as a 51.5 overall by Pro Football Focus. Not saying they are the Bible, but they do watch the tape, and they put a quantitative number on his coverage grade, 48.6. They ranked him as the 109th best corner in the NFL last year. Just wasn't all that good. He's got a long way to go, and it's okay. He's a rookie. Why are we asking him to go be a cornerback 1 out there and guard the best corner week in and week out? Do we think Cordell Flott in year 3 is magically going to become that guy? I'm just not sure that he is. He's never really proven to me that he could be an outside boundary corner on a top defense in this league. He just hasn't. Yes, he made a nice play in the playoff game against the Minnesota Vikings. He did. Really big pass breakup. But, man, you see the numbers on screen. It ain't that good. His rookie year, 2022, He played 269 snaps at the outside corner grade, and the numbers are okay, but he got targeted 24 times and he allowed 16 completions. I wouldn't say that's all that good. Then they switched him back to a slot corner in 2023. So rookie year, he's outside. Second year, he's a slot corner. How is he supposed to develop if you're asking him to play a different position 3 years in a row? And then Drew Phillips, a rookie, we're just expecting him to walk into the National Football League and be a solid starting slot corner. I hope so. That'd be awesome. I hope the Giants hit a home run on Drew Phillips and he's able to be that guy. But is he going to be? Is it fair to ask him to be that guy? I don't think it is. I mean, you cut Darnay Holmes. I don't think Darnay Holmes is all that good, but he went out and made the Raiders' 53-man roster. I don't know. Is Trey Hawkins magically going to become that guy? The training camp darling of 2023? The guy that had to be benched after the first 2 games of the NFL season because he was legitimately the worst corner in the National Football League? He got targeted 30 times last year. He allowed 25 catches, a completion percentage of almost 84. He was ranked as the 104th best corner in football. And all you did in the offseason was let Adoree Jackson leave, which I don't have a problem with. But you didn't have any talent there. And that was a problem last year. Gave up over 600 yards to the Dallas Cowboys in a single game. Like, yes, in a perfect world, Deonte Banks takes a step. Trey Hawkins takes a step. And Cordell Flott takes a step. And Drew Phillips emerges as a rookie. But, man, that's a lot to ask for. And maybe the pass rush of Thibodeau and Burns and Dexter Lawrence makes it easier on the back end. But if you can't cover in this league, there's going to be guys running wide open every single week. And we're going to go through the schedule. And we're going to show you the guys they're going to have to cover. They're some of the best in the National Football League. But first, I got to give a huge shout out to our proud sportsbook partner, BetUS. Go to chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code chat125. Put $100 into your account, and they'll match it with a 125% deposit bonus. $100 in, promo code chat125, $225 in your account. You can lay some lettuce on the line as week 1 is right around the corner. The Giants, they're dogs. Take them +1. I'd take the under 41.5. Maybe a little teaser action. Give me the under. Giants money line. That's what I would roll with. You can roll, you can fade. Just do it with BetUS. Chatsports.com/bet. Promo code chat125, 125% deposit bonus. So the Giants also brought in Shane Bowen as the new defensive coordinator. Wink Martindale quit. Him and Daboll hate each other. You went out and you signed Shane Bowen. What does Shane Bowen do good as a defensive coordinator? Stop the run and limit teams to 3. He is the master of bend but don't break. But the numbers also show me that he hasn't really been able to consistently have a great passing defense. In 2021, they gave up the 25th or the 7th most yards, 25th ranked yards per game allowed. They gave up the 7th most touchdowns. In 2022, they had the worst passing defense in the NFL when it comes to yards per game. They gave up the 4th most touchdowns. Then in 2023, gave up 227.4 yards per game, ranked 18th. And then pretty good. Your best year was 2023. But, man, this ain't the AFC South, man. This is the NFC East. Maybe the best receivers in the National Football League in that division. Two-headed monster, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. The Dallas Cowboys, CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks. They cooked you last year. And Terry McLaurin, he's a good player. Yes, they traded Dotson, but they still got some talent over there. And it's not just the NFC East. Your entire schedule is littered with great receiving cores and great quarterbacks. That's the NFL. Everyone's got great receivers. You got Justin Jefferson week 1. You got Amari Cooper and Jerry Jeudy week 3. Then against Seattle, you got to play 2 good guys in their team. And what about against the Bengals? You got to play Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Then against the Steelers, what if they get Brandon Ayuk? And you get a letdown against the Panthers. You don't have to play anyone that great. Then you look. What about the Bucs? Mike Evans. They're good. Saints, not that great. Baltimore's got a good receiving core. Falcons got a good receiving core. Colts are solid. Like, every weekend, you got to play someone great. And I understand that this year for the New York Giants is about development. I'm not coming up here saying they need to go out and win a Super Bowl. But if you're picking first, second, third, fourth, fifth, you're in the top 10 this year, are we sure Joe Schoen's job is safe? Should we let Joe Schoen draft another quarterback? He just gave Daniel Jones $82 million guaranteed. I don't think that their seats are hot, but they are warming up. And I just want to finish with this. I understand it's about development and seeing what you got. But it doesn't mean you can't add a veteran corner. Doesn't mean you can't have someone out there on the opposite side, Deonte Banks, that raises the floor of this defense. Or what about adding a guy that's a veteran that could help the development of Deonte Banks and Cordell Flott and Trey Hawkins and Andrew Phillips? Because sometimes you got to invest in your investments. Yeah, you may take playing time away from those guys this year, but they can learn from a veteran on this team. Maybe a guy like Stephon Gilmore is going to be a Hall of Famer. Oh, wait, you didn't want to go pay him $8 million. Look, I don't want to come up here and always just rip the Giants, but I got to be real with you guys because I care about you, I love about you, and I'm not going to feed you BS. I am worried about the corners on this team. I don't think they made enough moves this offseason. Wasn't a great group last year. That's why he drafted one in the first round. And he didn't add anybody except for Andrew Phillips, who I hope is awesome. I'm going to be rooting for all these guys. Let's keep it a buck. What's your confidence level in the Giants corners right now? Scale it from 1 to 10. 1 being you're not confident. 10, you got the most confidence in the world with them. Be honest. Keep it a bean. Let me know. And make sure you are following me over on social media. I'm on Twitter at @MarshallGreen_, on Instagram at @MarshallGreen_. If you want to continue the conversation, let's do it. Give me a follow, shoot me a DM, and let's go Big Blue.